Okay, so tell me a little bit about future-centered care. How did it get started?
Sure. So Future Centered Care, it's a custom case management company, and the founder, Allison Kleinman, and myself, we both work at the Jewish Community Center on the Upper West Side in their Center for Special Needs. She worked there about 14 years, and I was there about 6 or 7 years. And while we were supporting families in our program services, workshops, etc., we also piloted with a number of families what it would look like to support people outside of our programs and helping them find staffing or employment opportunities and helping kind of manage and build their schedule in addition to our programs. And so, as you can imagine, doing that while running a center of services was a lot. And so, Allison broke off and started Future Centered Care just over a year, just about a year and a half ago now. And so, we focus solely on the custom case management currently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what kind of services do you provide at future-centered care?
Yeah, so at Future Centered Care, we work with a lot of families who are tapping into the Office for People with Developmental Disabilities. It's a state funded funding stream through Medicaid. And we're working with families to help them utilize their budget that they get from the state to find fitting programs, services to help recruit staff, to help them get to the programs and services that are a good fit for them. We also help kind of piece together a more custom schedule because for a lot of the adults who support, maybe going a more traditional route like a day hab service or in a group home might not be the best fit for that individual. And so we're working on helping families think about the individual and having the individual kind of dictate what they want their life to look like.
Mm-hmm. My next question is, what particular stakeholders do you work with closely?
So the stakeholders that we work with are, at the center of the work that we do is the adult, the self-advocate themselves. And then we're working very closely with the parents and caregivers and thinking about future planning or life kind of where parents and caregivers are no longer around to take care of or support the adult individual. And also with a lot of the adults we work with, helping find like a healthy amount of separation so that the adult feels like they're making their own decisions and are making decisions that are best for them. We're also working with clinical care teams if they exist. And if they don't exist, then we're helping find the right therapist or harm reduction specialist or psychologist or whatever it might be. And then we're also working with a lot of state appointed positions of care managers or fiscal intermediaries or brokers who are helping the families utilize their state funds. Let me think if there's other stakeholders. We also work a lot with other family members, with siblings or cousins who are part of the self-advocate's life as well, to just make sure that everyone feels aligned, because we recognize that we're kind of an entity that's outside of the family coming in and getting to know kind of the current circle of support.
Mm-hmm. My next question is, what impact does your organization have on communities as a whole, particularly the disability community?
So I think that where we have an impact is, I think that there's a lack of recognition that there's a lot of support or diagnoses that go undiagnosed with adults with disabilities, that like mental health support or substance use support or eating disorder support that might not typically be identified in this community because there's just an assumption that the IDD population doesn't experience a lot of the things that typical adults experience. And so I think where we have an impact is really thinking about the providers who maybe don't typically provide services through a disability lens and how we can expand their services to be able to support, or honestly to just kind of open the minds of professionals that the support that they offer could benefit a broader community than they're currently supporting. And then additionally, I think that there's a lot of power of connecting not just people to professionals, but people to each other. And so a lot of disability oriented programming can be very isolating. And so we're working on really creating strong networks where it's human focused and making real matches so that people, and sorry, we can hear other things in the background, connecting people not just to services, but to each other to create a real web of a network of people, relationships and services.
My last question here is, how do you create an inclusive and welcoming environment for everyone, including people with disabilities, as from a standpoint, as an organization?
Yeah, I think that we just start with a lot of listening, because I think that we can be informed by our past experiences working with other adults with disabilities. But I think where we would do a disservice is making any kind of assumption about the needs of the individual based on just an experience that maybe isn't relevant to the current person that we're working with. So I think we really start our efforts by doing a lot of information gathering and a lot of listening to make sure that we're a real partner alongside the self-advocate and not dictating or forcing or stepping on any toes. So I think it's really, I think that starts with listening, in my opinion.
Cool.